Okay, everyone, so welcome to this talk. I'm going to be sharing about Tantra and Shiva and Shakti and this beautiful ancient text, which is the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. But we're going to be looking at this version, the Radiance Sutras by Lorin Roche, which is a very, very poetic and I would say a more feminine translation of the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, because that can be quite dry, actually. It depends who translates it. But let's just sit for a few moments before we go into the talk on Tantra, and we'll just do a meditation. Just a couple of minutes, that's all, just to center ourselves. And today we've been working with one of the Maha Vidyas, which is Tripura Sundari. Sundari means beauty, and she refers to the internal beauty. So we were looking at the breath, and we were breathing with this reverence, like the breath is so intimate. There was a beautiful quote by Lorin Roche that was saying, if you want a massage, then look at your breath. Your breath is an inner massage therapist. So let's just come to that. Looking at the breath as the inner massage therapist. You can feel it gently going into the cells of the body. If it works for you, you can use a soft and beautiful ujjayi, smooth, and feel like you're drinking the breath. The breath flows into this body as a nectar of the gods. Every breath is a whisper of the goddess. Here is the ritual I ask of you. Be the cup into which I pour this bliss. The elixir of immortal peace. And the breath flows out with the sound sa. The breath flows in with the sound ha. Thus, thousands of times a day. Everyone who breathes is adoring the goddess. Know this and be in great joy. Listen to the ongoing prayer that is breath. Life shall dance inside of you. A dance of ever-renewing delight. And just take a few more moments with this breath, seeing if you can really feel the words of the verse and come into the direct experience of that. See what happens when you come to the inner smile, just turning the corners of the mouth up. And relax the body a little bit more. Feel the face peaceful. And breathe like you are really loving the breath. The breath is delicious. Take 3 more breaths. And on the next exhalation, good, and again. And this time with a sighing sound. Good. Slowly opening your eyes when you're ready. And so Tantra really honored the body. I think that is the difference, the main difference between the other philosophies like Vedanta and the Vedic period and the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. When it came to Tantra, then there was an explosion into let's honor the body. Like, this body is divine. Everything is divine. Everything is made of pure consciousness. And we're not going to deny everything because everything is made of, everything comes from the same source. Therefore, there was this understanding that everything is divine. So what they did in Tantra was to separate the unmanifest and the manifest. So the silence or the awareness that is within us, that is always there, and all the things that manifest, like the body, the breath, the colors, the book, the objects, even the thoughts and the emotions, or the bliss. So everything that could be perceived, everything that we could be aware of, even if it was very subtle like bliss, I'm still able to be aware of bliss within me. I'm aware of my body. I can feel it, I can see it, I can touch it, you know. And they broke the whole universe down into Shiva and Shakti. And so Shiva is the unmanifest and Shakti is the manifest. And so I'm just going to draw this on the board to give us a little visual. And I thought I'd put Shiva down here because we're going to talk mostly about Shakti. So let's just put Shiva here. And the unmanifest. We could call that many things. We could call it emptiness, nothingness, the void. Many different words, the infinite, awareness, all relating to words that don't change, the unchanging. And Shakti was the change, the color, the manifest, the 5 bodies, yeah, the physical body, the energetic body, the mental emotional body, the insights, the bliss, Anandamaya Kosha. So we have those 5 different levels. I love the 5 bodies because it really, for the first time when I saw the 5 bodies, I was like, wow, a map that shows me all the different levels of who I am. It just made it clear for me. Yeah, I have a physical body. Yes, it's real. Because I've been in many spiritual talks where they'd said, you are not the body. And that made me really confused. I was like, okay, I'm believing this, guru on the stage telling me I'm not the body. And now I understand that a bit differently, but I would say it's more helpful to say you're not just the body. Because to say you're not the body is very confusing for a lot of people because we do have bodies. So when I saw the Pancha Maya Kosha, and I'll just put that here, the 5 bodies, I was so happy, even though I knew I had a physical body. I was so happy that that was here, the physical body. So just to recap on what the 5 bodies are: physical, Annamaya Kosha, the energetic, Pranamaya Kosha, the mental emotional, Manomaya Kosha, and the wisdom body, which is Vijnana Kosha, and the bliss body, Anandamaya Kosha. We could say bliss, we could say also peace is Anandamaya Kosha. And I know we've been doing some beautiful yoga nidras that have been going into this and exploring these states, because it's, as we were just talking about, in Shavasana, we're able to be stable and comfortable. So we have a greater ability to go in and go down and go into the depths of who we are. And we are aware. So if I write awareness, I think it's a word that is a good description, because then we can say, I am aware of bliss. I am aware of my mind. I'm aware of my energy. I'm aware of my physical body. Because in this book, in the essence of Tantra, it's about this play of Shiva and Shakti. And it's describing what is going on within every being and in the universe. So we see the nature, we see the ocean, we see the clouds, we see the animals, we see everything that's going on, the houses, the people, the bikes, the cars. And we don't see Shiva. Yeah, but Shiva is, or awareness, is at the source of everything. And I know in quantum physics that they've looked into this, and they've looked into objects, and they've seen that actually this book is not solid. Our body is not solid. It's full of space. So when they go in, looking more deeply, there are atoms, millions, billions of atoms, and then they go inside the atoms. The atoms are dancing within us. And then they go inside the atoms, and then there's quarks, they're called. And it's just infinite space. And we're like, well, why do we, if we're made of space, why do we feel so solid? Like the bones feel solid. The book feels solid. The floor feels solid. Like the water feels, we can feel it, How come? And it's been explained that these are different levels of vibration. And the slower the vibration, the more solid something feels. So what we're doing in our practices, what is really beautiful, is that when we go into a posture and we begin at the physical aligning the body. And then we use our breath, especially in Ashtanga, to breathe and to come into this energetic, the sensations within, the shimmering of the energy, the pulsation, the more subtle sensations. We're going into the energetic. And then in the same posture, we can be aware of what's arising on the level of mind. Oh, I'm having a thought about my boyfriend. I'm having a thought about breakfast. I'm having a thought. And we start to see the nature of the mind. Or I'm having an emotion. This posture's making me angry. I hate this posture. I want to get out. And then you catch yourself and you're like, that's interesting. Why am I struggling in this posture? You know? So it's like we're investigating all these different levels of who we are. And then we have an epiphany in a posture and we're like, whoa, an insight, like everything opens up and we feel like we understand something of a deeper nature. And the wisdom body is activated usually when the mental body is quieting down and there's more silence. Then you can hear those whispers of wisdom and that are more quiet than the normal thinking mind. So we start to investigate, if I quieten down my mind in the practice, let's see what's beneath the mind, because normally I'm just identified with the thoughts going on and the mind can be quite noisy. So what's beneath? What is beneath the mind? So we find the wisdom, the insights, the revelations, Vijnana Bhairava. And then what's even beneath that? And I know for some of you, you were saying, oh wow, in Shavasana, I could really drop into that bliss, this peacefulness, this stillness, this silence. And so you see that we're getting more and more subtle as we go down through the 5 bodies. And we're getting closer to this deep, deep stillness of Shiva. So they say that from that silence, in Tantra, they say that from that silence arose the first impulse of Shakti. And one of the first impulses is bliss, because bliss is very close to this deep stillness. We need deep stillness to perceive bliss because it's very subtle. So if we're up here in our mind or feel in our body, we might not feel bliss so much. But when we drop into a meditation, into Shavasana, even into a posture, we might be able to really have the ability to look in and to feel peace, even if you don't feel bliss. Like to feel this, like, I remember I used to teach, and I'd always say, try to find peace in the posture. That was my big thing for, I don't know, about 10 years ago. I was like, try to find peace in each posture. Can you find peace in each posture? And it's a really good exploration to see if you can. And I didn't know this map at the time, but it's so helpful. So when it comes to the Maha Vidyas, so this 5 bodies is bringing us deeper into the silence. When it comes to the Maha Vidyas, so today's Maha Vidya, Tripura Sundari, is bliss. She relates to this level, Ananda. She relates to the blissfulness, the beauty of that state of bliss, the internal state. So arising from the silence is Tripura Sundari. And this is why in Tantra they would call, and it's very common in India anyway, in Hinduism, that they have many goddesses and many gods, and they're all called different names. But we could just say that this is energy. Yeah, this is the energy of bliss. And what's beautiful in Tantra, they would say, that's Sundari. And then they give her a form, and they honor that form, a beautiful goddess with all the symbolic gestures and the items in her hands and the clothing and the color and all of this too, which is symbolic to the qualities of this energy. Then we had this powerful energy of Kali, which was different to this blissful energy of Tripura Sundari. And now we're coming into the manifestation. So out of the silence arises Kali. And we were saying that we could see Kali not just in ourselves, but in nature, the powerful waves, the strong wind that will transform things. So these are all streams of energy that are within us and outside in nature, these powerful forces. And so all of the goddesses are coming from Shiva, and they are labeled Shakti. So this compassionate energy of Tara. And we're going to do some other, as we go through the course, all of the Maha Vidyas are arising from Shiva. And so in this book, Tara also relates to the sound of Om. So in the Maha Vidyas, they say that, and I'd like to describe, because this is really important, for the sound of Om, Tara is the first sound, So and I know we chant Om a lot of the time, so out of the silence arose the first sound. Om. I always think if you turned all of the other sounds off, like the lights and the aircon and music and birds, and that you would hear this vibration, that you'd be able to hear Om vibrating very, very quietly. And then from this sound arises all the other sounds. So when we chant Om, and this is the whole purpose, we are bringing ourselves into the depth, to the first sound. We are bringing ourselves closer to Shiva, to the silence, to the stillness, to that which we don't normally recognize, which is awareness itself. And I never knew that. I was like, okay, Om is a powerful mantra, I must chant Om. But I didn't realize that when I finished, and we used to do this with my teacher for like half an hour, just chanting Om. It's in Patanjali Yoga Sutras as well. This chanting of Om can lead to states of samadhi, states of oneness. And I would finish chanting and I'd be in a different state, just like totally silent, still, full of vibration, because the sound of Om is like so vibratory. And I didn't realize what was happening. I didn't realize why I was feeling that way. And it's lovely to know now that it draws me deeper towards that primary sound, the initial sound that arises out of the silence. Om is the first sound. So all of the Maha Vidyas, Maha is great and Vidya is truth or knowledge. So they are giving us great knowledge. They are bringing us in so we can explore and we can see the different levels of who we are. We can understand ourselves more deeply. Once we've found bliss, like you did today in the practice, then you know it's inside of you, and something changes. Something really changes when you know again and again, bliss is within me. Then that desire to get bliss from the outside, to fill yourself up. Oh, I need this. I need a better relationship. I need this chocolate. You can have all those things. but not from the same place of need. You already are happy. You already are satisfied or fulfilled, because everything is within us. We just have to find it. So this is the power of the Maha Vidyas and the practice of yoga and Tantra. What I love about Tantra is that it's all embracing. It's not saying, oh, go beyond your emotions. You know, they're just superficial. Rise above, transcend. Just know Shiva. Don't bother with any of this. This is a distraction. And then we live our lives, and I lived my life after, you know, being in many, many talks of non-duality and Vedanta and all sorts of deep spiritual talks, I thought, where it just confused me. I was living life and I was trying to be very detached, and I couldn't really be detached because I was feeling emotional and things were affecting me, but I didn't know how to deal with it. Nobody had told me, okay, well, honor your emotions. The emotions bring color to life. If you didn't have any emotions, you would just be very gray and dry. Do you know? You just go through life going, namaste. And then, you know, walking around like you're not in life. You're very disconnected. And I know that this happens often in spirituality, where people are trying to be spiritual, and it's coming from a good place. We're all trying to be more happy. We're all trying to feel more peace. But sometimes it can lead to dissociation. I don't want to feel my emotions because I don't know how to handle them. You know, I've never been taught this is what to do with emotions. Meet them, welcome them, you know. So the emotional intelligence can be quite low. The physical intelligence, kinesthetic intelligence, you know, all the different levels have an intelligence, and working with them will bring more wisdom. We will have emotional intelligence, and I really feel strongly that this is important, to learn how to be with your emotions, how to meet them. If you, I love the work of Gabor Mate, and he says that, you know, he's seen in his work with addiction is that those people have a very low emotional intelligence. They don't know how to deal with emotions. So when a difficult emotion comes up, then they don't know, they can't be with it because it feels horrible. So, and you don't even realize you're doing this, and I think we're all doing it to some extent, is that a difficult emotion comes up and straight away your survival reaction is to go and eat chocolate, or for some people to go and drink vodka, or for some people to go on their phone, on Facebook, or many different drugs, sex, porn, all sorts of ways that we escape ourselves because we haven't been taught how to honor ourselves. So for me in my teaching, I'm trying my best to teach, and I'm trying my best to do that as well in my own life, is to how to honor all these levels of who we are. You know, not to teach somebody to escape themselves and go into this and just be there meditating forever in a cave. Well, that's not much use in the world. Yeah, great, you're in a cave, you're nice and peaceful, but what's the point? Maybe if you came out the cave and then you knew peace, okay, that's a different thing, and then you could bring it into the world. Beautiful. So there's many different ways that we can do this, but we're talking about how Tantra teaches, how this text is really helping us to get in touch with ourselves more deeply, to know ourselves more, and to find, and this is what I love about it, it turns the mundane tasks that we do every day into something mystical. into something beautiful. It's like transfiguration. And this is what the goddesses, the Maha Vidyas, are also doing. That verse that I read at the beginning, breath flows into this body as a nectar of the gods. Every breath is a whisper of the goddess. So when we, like every breath is a whisper of the goddess, then you're going to breathe differently. It's not just inhale, exhale, inhale, arms up, exhale, arms down. That can be very mechanical and very robotic, and we're not really gonna find the beauty in the breath. And if we do find the beauty, that's gonna inspire us, it's gonna open our hearts, we're gonna feel, we're gonna know ourselves. And I find that this is like a very like juicy, embracing, feminine way to practice. And then we can go, Tripura Sundari is within me. Not just bliss is within me, but Tripura Sundari, the goddess. All of these goddesses are inside of me. And it's not coming from an ego place of, I am the goddess, but it's much more of a humble, like ecstatic devotion that is cultivated through recognizing that you are divine. Everyone is divine. And if we can teach people to recognize that they are divine, this is something really, really beautiful. So I'd like to read the beginning of this book because I find it incredibly gorgeous. The way Lorin Roche has translated this. And this is what happens in Tantra. There is this play, there's this love story of Shiva and Shakti. And it's like Shakti is rising in our bodies, is rising to embrace Shiva at the crown. So even inside of the body, Shakti is seen as the base of the spine, the perineum, the source of Kundalini, and Shiva is in the top of the head, in the crown, in Tantra. So Shiva is there because it's transcendence, it's the silence. When we're in the crown of the head, we have more ability to be still, to be silent, to be beyond the thoughts. And Shakti is the energy, she's the pulsation, she's the life force which resides in Muladhara chakra. So there's a lot of beautiful stories of Shakti is going to see her lover, Shiva, in the crown. So you can make your teaching and the way you express things, if this really touches you, you can make it really poetic, as long as you have the right people in front of you. If you're at a gym in London, then maybe not. So this is how the book opens. So you're welcome to sit with your eyes closed or lie down if you feel it. It's nice to rest the body in this moment. I'm going to be reading for about 5 minutes. So make yourself comfortable. And as much as you can, try to feel the words. Yeah. Allow them to touch you. Allow them to touch every part of you. And so just to introduce that this Bhairava Tantra is framed as a conversation between lovers. We could say Shakti and Shiva, but in the book it's described as Devi, who is Shakti, and Bhairava, who is Shiva. Devi is the creative energy permeating the universe. Her nature is power, strength, and might. And Bhairava is the infinite consciousness that embraces her. In these initial verses, which I'm going to read, Devi is speaking from within her awe at existence. She assumes the body of a seeker of truth and dares Bhairava to reveal to her the secrets of yoga. Rising to the occasion, Bhairava accepts her questions as beautiful and invites her to accompany him on the path of intimacy with all life. So one day the goddess sang to her lover, Bhairava. And she said, "Beloved and radiant Lord of the space before birth, revealer of essence and slayer of the ignorance that binds us. You who in play have created this universe and permeated all forms in it with never-ending truth. I have been wondering. I have been listening to the hymns of creation, enchanted by the verses, and yet still I'm curious. What is this delight-filled universe in which we find ourselves born? And what is this mysterious awareness shimmering everywhere within it? I have been listening to the love songs of form, longing for formless. What are these energies undulating through our bodies and pulsing us into action? And this matter out of which our forms are made, what are these dancing particles of condensed radiance? And what is this power that we call life, appearing as the play of flesh and breath? How may I know this mystery and enter it more deeply? My attention is enthralled by a myriad of forms, innumerable individual entities everywhere, flashing into existence and fading away again. Here she's talking about the thoughts, the distractions coming. She says, lead me into wholeness beyond all these parts. Oh, do me a favor, my love. Let me rest in your embrace and refresh me with the elixir of your wisdom and ravish me with your truth. So that's her question to Shiva. And he replies, beloved, your questions touch the heart of wonder, the path of intimacy with all life, weaving together body and soul, sex and spirit, individuality and universality. This is my cave of secrets. Your inquiry has led you here. I feel your fingers on my pulse. Come with me. Leave behind everything you know. The teachings about me are a light show put on by celestial musicians, as beautiful and insubstantial as clouds. Elaborate rituals and garish images may be useful in meditation when your mind is whirling with thoughts of sex, money, and power. Go ahead and use these tools, yet know that beating drums and blaring trumpets cannot summon the one who is already present. I am not a collection of incantations known only to experts. I'm not a ladder to be climbed or a sequence for piercing energy centers in your body. I am not to be found at the end of a long road. I am right here. I am always here. I am the embrace of your most intimate experience. I am the nourishing state of fullness that is the essence of soul. You belong to me and I am yours. My nature is spotless, completely uncontaminated. I am not covered up, not even by 1 billion galaxies. So who is there to worship and adore? There is no one to appease. Sacred texts sing of my reality, but I cannot be found in them, for I am the one listening. I am closer than breath. The goddess and the one who holds her are one and the same. We are inseparable. The way to me is through her. So just taking a few deep breaths. And breathing in those words and whatever touched you, whatever you heard. The rest of this book is 112 meditations. How to find this divine mystery within everyday experience. And so just breathing and stretching if you're lying down, stretching out if you're sitting and you would like to move. And coming back up when you're ready, or opening your eyes if you're sitting. And then it goes into these 112 meditations, and this is what we're doing in our practice. I'm reading these verses. So we are having the direct experience in our practice of feeling the breath as pouring in like the nectar from the gods, you know? So I'm reading them while we are practicing so we can actually feel them. Not just reading them and sitting and contemplating, but actually moving. And this helps us then to do that when we're in everyday life. So you can walk down the beach and you can be breathing and feeling the nectar pouring in from, or the whisper of the goddess, or whatever the verse is about. And after those 112 meditations, it completes. Devi replies to Shiva, and it's very poetic and very metaphorical. And she says, "You whose drum is the pulse of creation, you whose dance is the motion of all worlds, you who are more intimate than my very breath, I am suffused with satisfaction. My questions have led to fullness. You have sung to me of the waves of union of the goddess with her god, time and space, personal and impersonal, energy and form, finite and infinite. You have sung the song of being at home in the universe. And having said that, the goddess, radiant with delight, embraces her lover." Oh, I love it. That's my version of a love story. So this is one, for me, it's one of the most enriching, inspiring texts. I also love the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It's very different. There's beauty in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. It's more like a study of the psychological, the mind, and what's in the way of samadhi or union with the divine. But I love this because it talks about the world. It talks about everyday activities. And we're going to do that as we go into our ceremony with Tripura Sundari. We're going to bring in some of the verses that speak about everyday activities, and we're going to do them together. So let's just bring our hands to our heart. And we'll just say thank you to Tantra for coming forth, for these ancient texts that we can really take benefit from, and it can bring so much difference to our life, so much richness and color and beauty. And just breathing into your heart, saying thank you in your own way for these teachings of yoga to Shiva and Shakti. And let's finish with 3 Oms. Deep breath in. Ah.